Welcome everybody to the sportiest stream. Nice to see you all here tonight, running in for some Rocket League action. Tonight a relatively short night in terms of what we usually get to see here. As again, it's a best of 7 for the Black Line Championship Series. Just saw a Premier Series match last night. Tonight though, our match is from the Contenders series. It's Soul Thieves, Team Ignition, both teams right now in upper round 2. It's a bit of a long bracket there, but Soul Thieves took their first win against Mach 10 Academy. Team Ignition with their win, Chanchos Rocket Club. At this point for these teams, it's best of 7s, although that lower bracket is best of 5. Whoever loses here in a tough position, they gotta play in that lower round 2, again, which is a best of 5, so not a very fun place to be for either of these rosters. All about being able to perform well under pressure. I think that for at least Team Ignition, when they played last season, didn't go exceptionally well for them. They fell out of the playoff bracket relatively quickly, so for them, making sure that this season isn't like last season. Again, they, I believe, fell in lower round 3. There's a lot of questions, I think, for Team Ignition this season. Soul Thieves, though, not too dissimilar. If they were here last season as well. Be wrong. I think I am wrong. They were not here last season. But again, not too dissimilar for them. They didn't have a great regular season here, actually. As for Team Ignition, who made it to second in the group, only behind the Three Commandments, who they actually beat in the regular season. Soul Thieves barely making it in. They had a 3-4 record, actually falling behind teams like Mach 10 Academy, who they did just beat, make it to this point in the bracket. So the Soul Thieves, I'm sure there's a lot of, I'm sure they're going to be in a position where they don't really have anything that they can do wrong at this point. They've already beat a team that they were not expected to. At this point, it's just about being able to perform as best as they can. I can't wait to see what's going to happen here. It should be great time for just good action here in the Black Line Championship Series. Again, Team Ignition and Soul Thieves. We've seen Ignition on the stream so often. We haven't seen them in a little while. Since the start of the regular season, including their win actually over the Three Commandments, who again, the team that eventually won this group. Team Ignition, I don't think they're going to be too unhappy. They can't be complaining too much for their first win over Chanchos Rocket Club. For a sweep, I think, guys, people expected them to take that team down, but confident fashion too, which can only be a good thing for this team. As we've seen before from Team Ignition, they generally have had issues in the playoffs. Playoffs are not an easy place for them to be, which they can't. Which I don't think they're even going to disagree with this. Thank you, Cody. Thank you for the compliments, and shoutouts to you as well for being so supportive. As again, 8 months here from Cody. Thank you so much. Again, Team Ignition, hoping that this season can turn things around for them. Again, that last season was not great for them in the Contenders Series playoffs. I want an adjustment to that, where this season can go a little bit better for them. Again, this is our only match tonight, so if I do take a look at the rosters, this is 3v3 action. Soul Thieves is one of very few teams, actually, in this. Actually, a couple teams in this tournament that actually don't have an organization behind them. Haven't had one all season, but they've obviously found quite a lot of success here. Season, at least a 3-4 record, which again may not be that bad, especially when they just took down Mach 10, which is a team that they lost to this season, and a team that had at that point a perfect record. So there's a lot you could probably say about these teams and the quality of their play, but we definitely can say about them is that they both deserve to be at this point. Now it's about making it further in the bracket. The Contender Series is a very tough bracket as well. It's a long bracket. I mean, whoever wins this is going up only to the winners' quarterfinals. I know that lower bracket is even worse, so these teams, very long road getting to that, to a very high position, a very high spot. We'll see if they can get there. They should be joining the lobby very, very soon. Both Thieves taking on Team Ignition. Mind you, this is a best of 7, so at this point in the season, it's all about getting 4 wins. If you win this match, you avoid the best of 5s in the lower bracket, which were the matches where Team Ignition lost out last season. They don't want to be there again. But this is a match that's really going to test them. Again, Soul Thieves, sure, they may not have had a good regular season, but they just beat the team that had a perfect season, so it doesn't really matter at this point what record they had. Soul Thieves are going to play their matches, and they have the ability to take down top-tier contenders, and you would expect Team Ignition, who are not ranked higher than Mach 10 Academy, to not have an easy time here either. Poll is live, so if you do want to get some votes in, now is your time to do that. As Ignition join the lobby, Cody, Ryan, and Bingo Brian. And the other side for the Soul Thieves, they have 4 players: Bolts and Ryza, Sovok, and Ivo Yoraman. Which of those players will be joining in tonight? Again, we are just, waiting on them. They should be here any moment, though. My best guess is what's happening is they're probably just encountering some delays just due to, probably some warm-ups. As there they are, Ryza, Sovok, and Bolts all in, so the starting players running into the lobby here. As again, good luck to both these teams. They're all in and they're all ready. It's Team Ignition taking on the Soul Thieves in the Contenders series playoff, a best of 7. A lot of people, I think, going to be in this match. It's a team of a ton of players who have really known each other against another team who's really known each other. Both these teams, even though we haven't seen the Soul Thieves before, have a lot of experience with each other. Team Ignition, though, off the kickoff, it's Cody, 10 seconds in. Just a great beat there from Ryan, gets a little bit faster than Sovok, and win a challenge like that, you open up so much space, and especially off the kickoff that quickly. Soul Thieves just don't have a lot of boost, don't have a lot of ability to challenge. It's a reason why you should be winning those kickoffs pretty often. Soul Thieves once again struggling. This time, though, they will have the ball. Team Ignition still on offense as Ryan able to get back. We're going to be seeing a lot, I think, of Ryan today. I see a lot of from Bingo Brian specifically. And really, if I had anybody to talk about, it would be Cody. Because his playstyle is one that, and this team doesn't play well all the time, so point the finger at Cody. Maybe it's not all justifiable. But his playstyle is one that never really is ever given a lot of praise. He doesn't try to do too much. It's always about keeping things simple, keeping things steady. For a player of Cody's skill, if he's playing well, this team generally succeeds, but right now he's had very little to do. He scored that first goal, but on this play, he's done almost nothing. He does keep Bolts away from challenging, but really a lot of this is just Bingo Brian playing 1v2 and not leaving the play. That means Team Ignition now with a 2-goal lead inside the first minute. Soul Thieves, I don't think they were ready for this. Again, they've already had to take on Mach 10 Academy, so they've already had to take on very good competition. But Ignition's group was quite competitive. They were the second seed coming out, but the first seed was only 1 win ahead of them. A team that they had beaten in the regular season. The third seed had the exact same record, and the fourth seed was only 1 loss behind. So Ignition had a very tough group to get out of. It was incredibly intense to just see who would be those top seeds. Often in the Contender series, you see that kind of bracket change because there's so many groups, because these teams are ranked so differently, because you can often have group mismatches. Sometimes you get some weird mismatches in that first round, strange upsets, maybe one-sided matches where you really shouldn't be expecting them. Team Ignition, again, a very tough group. It would definitely be a testament to this team's capabilities. And in a group so competitive that they were able to get out of it, even with having suffered a couple of losses during the regular season. Here gets the Soul Thieves just trying to find that space, but that's wide open for Ryza. Missed it wide here. Bingo Brian in a headlock. We'll see if Ignition or Soul Thieves care to keep it that way. Doesn't mean that this game is now momentarily a 2v2, and you'd expect players like Cody and Ryan to be pretty good at that. Both of them have a lot of 2v2 capabilities and a lot of 2v2 experience. We've seen Cody on this stream play 2v2s in the Skyward series, now known as the Royalty series. So for the Soul Thieves, it's in Ryza and Bolts. And this would be a great chance to get a goal back, really be able to turn some momentum around here. Right now, having some issues as Bolts left with no boost. Cody, oh, a bad first touch. He's got to go backwards here. But he'll get rid of the danger, at least just clearing the ball away, doing something to make sure that Soul Thieves don't score. And that's one of the issues in twos, is that any mistake you have there's a lot more space to take advantage of. Players are going to notice, they're going to play a little bit more aggressive. A place where you don't want to miss the ball. Cody, a touchdown. Ryan, avoiding that demo attempt from Bolts. Team Ignition, just holding in the midfield right now, paying for time it seems. That headlock is still being played on. As Sovak and Bingo Brian just sitting in that back corner. Soul Thieves right now playing very controlled defense. In fact, they now got an open play. Bolts one-on-one. Ryan ahead, looking for the bump. Cannot get it in time. Ryan will be there to block. And Team Ignition will get out of defense. Cody, Ryan, it's open. It's 3 goals for Team Ignition. And there is no stopping them from putting the ball in the net. Team Ignition able to win out on the 2v2, but I think what's even more important about that play is how much time it ticked off. There's now only a minute left with a 3-goal lead here for Ignition. Their job at this point is relatively simple. Rely on that defense. A defense that has not let the Soul Thieves get much of anything here on Manfield Night. Bolts. Chance here kept out by Brian. Ryan will be getting back here as Cody jumping in. And Cody's just going to take this one. The Soul Thieves weren't ready. It almost looked like they were trying to go for a handoff pass there, but Ryzen and Zovak didn't follow each other up there. And Cody just jumping in, all in on that challenge. It will go in Ignition's favor, and they'll add another one to their tally here in Game 1. Bolts trying to get an answer. Ryan will be there to challenge, and Ryza. Bingo Ryan, who again has had very little action this game, now looking to make it 5. That shot saved by Bolts. In comes Cody, but it will be cleared off the line by Soavak. Team Ignition continuing to just look like the far more well-rounded team right now. Soul Thieves just don't seem to have that kind of control, don't seem to have that kind of consistency. It feels like they need to play better. And that's the sad thing about this, that there's no mistakes they're making. It's just that overall Ignition have a better playstyle. And that's going to allow them to take Game 1 with relative ease. It was only 4 shots for Soul Thieves compared to the 10 of Team Ignition. And with the Ignition defense posting up 3 saves, left very little for the Soul Thieves to take. That means we go straight into game number 2 with Team Ignition off of the back of an incredible victory. And for the Soul Thieves, we still haven't seen anyone step up. Somebody's got to take the reins here. Someone's got to be able to bring a sucker punch to Team Ignition. Cannot let this team walk all over you. They're not a team that generally does that very often. For the Soul Thieves, they've got to find some of that confidence back. Team Ignition, they're allowed to have this kind of pacing. There's not going to be anything that stops this team. But the Soul Thieves, a whole new game, a whole new ballpark, and a whole new place to be in, but already a scary start there. It was Bingo Brian and Ryan both jumping in for that shot. They nearly could have gone onto that bar. The Soul Thieves will be a little bit thankful, but they better make another block here. Ryan on the flick, goes high, punches out Solovak, and Bingo Brian will slide it under the defense. Team Ignition off the backs of Ryan. And he's always been able to show off with these MVP level performances. What a time to bring out that play. For a player who usually loves to take things in the air, it's his ground game that usually surprises players the most. And a great start to game 2 for Team Ignition. As Ryan gets that block on Sovok. Both Thieves still waiting, and Ryza has bolts to follow up, but another early challenge there. Team Ignition not letting Soul Thieves get away with anything. Ryan, Brian, oh my! And the Soul Thieves never saw it coming! Team Ignition will double their lead to 2. There has been no mistakes from this side. And that one, devoid of any ill intent. Team Ignition showing off with a smash shot from the Soul Thieves back wall. And they're still not done. Ryan has a second touch here, will hit us in the corner. Bolts on the whiff. Ryan will make it free. And Ignition adds another. For all that he's done so far, Brian finally getting the assist for Ryan. Ryan has not scored yet this game. But he's been so integral. He's had a goal or an assist for every single score here on Forbidden Temple. Ignition once again off to a flying start. For a team that generally has issues with being able to find that cohesion. This is a whole different look of a series for them, but Sovok unable to get that one through as Ryan waiting back, and Ryza finds the open net, and the Soul Thieves will finally take one. Ryan, it was just a heavy first touch. Been involved in every goal so far, whether he likes it or not. That first touch needed to be a little bit softer, a little bit more controlled. He had time. I don't think he recognized it. Both Thieves will finally put one behind Team Ignition. But with them still 2 goals down. As the Soul Thieves have that ability to add more. That goal felt very fluky in its way. It didn't really feel like it was one that the Soul Thieves made themselves. It just came off a mistake. You know, on the other side, Ignition haven't really cared if the Soul Thieves make mistakes. It's not what they're looking at right now. Just playing a controlled, consistent playstyle, relying a lot on, you know, the mechanics of Ryan and to really take them through. As that's another mistake there from Ryan. Sovok's going to take a second goal. And it's waiting for Team Ignition. The mistakes are starting to pile on. A team that has made so few of them. That's a rare one for Ryan. 2 mistakes in this game that have been countered by the Soul Thieves, and Team Ignition cannot make that kind of mistake. And Ryza. Holtz stopped by Cody. Team Ignition staying close as Ryan trying to look out for Bingo Brian there, but Cody's got to get back. One-on-one with Sovok, but he's ran out of boost. And Cody, well, it may not have looked all that consistent. He'll make sure it gets out somehow. Bolts now. Ryan blocks. Follow-up shot. That's going to tie things up. Sovok with another. And the Soul Thieves have turned things around. Team Ignition bunching up in that back corner. And without anybody in the net, they're going to fall apart. And the Soul Thieves have warmed up and are recognizing the mistakes that Ignition are making on that back line. And for Ignition, again, who have been so good at preventing the mistakes this series, what has happened to them? Been a complete turnaround. Team Ignition, an answer! Well, that was definitely needed. Bingo Brian will complete his hat trick. And Ryan, once again, providing the assist. He's got a Playmaker award now. And this game has just been all over the place for Team Ignition. You've seen spectacular offense and then disastrous defense. I was going to mention this is a team that overall has not had a lot of time to practice during this season. I have a team that usually gets a ton of scrims, a ton of matches together. A lot of what they learn about each other is just through the regular season, through their matches. Overall, that clean style that Ignition has had before has had issues this season because of that. I think we're getting a glimpse of that here in Game 2, and that the consistency of Team Ignition has fallen apart. But credit to them, they still have offense, and they're scoring at will. So even with all these defensive woes, Ignition still have the lead for a good reason. As for once a goal actually without Ryan contributing, it's Brian to Cody. And Team Ignition will reinstate the 2-goal lead. And for a game that has been all over the place for Team Ignition, I think they just want it to end. They're happy with what they have, they just don't need anything else against them. Unfortunately, Soul Thieves give them quite a headache here. Got that clear from Ryan, will at least keep Bolts back. Bingo Brian, next up to it, looking across, no one there in Ryza. Actually, very heavy first touch, probably could have just controlled this one. I said Team Ignition will have the midfield under control, but not for long. Bolts up in the air, no double tap made. Oh, a second touch! It's gone in the Ignition net! It was Bingo Brian who was sitting back, and it will be Bingo Brian who will hit it in his own goal. And the issues on defense continue for Team Ignition. They're definitely not gonna be happy at the end of this game, no matter if they win or lose. This has been a far cry from the cleanness that we saw in Game 1. The Soul Thieves still have time to tie this thing up in Ryza. Unable to get it by Brian. Bolts. Rough first touch. Ignition. Prepared for this one. Infield. Bingo Brian gets by Bolts, and but he jumped as well. He'll have a chance to send this one to the net. Ryan not able to get the clear. Bingo Brian on very low boost. Just able to slow the play down. The Soul Thieves looking in the corner. Cody's whiffed it! Oh, it's gonna go in! And the mistakes continue! And Soul Thieves keep countering! It's a mistake from Cody! And the Soul Thieves, whether it is deserved or not, whether you feel it will be deserved or not, have tied this thing at 5. And Ignition can only look at themselves for why the game has ended this way. An offense that scores at will, and an defense that can't stop letting the other team score at will. Team Ignition, they better hope this is a nightmare that they can end. This has been a game that has been a roller coaster of emotions for them. And it is not done yet. We're still guaranteed at least one more goal. That will come in overtime. For Ignition, it started off so well. It was 3 goals in the first minute. Somehow things are all tied up. Somehow the Soul Thieves have a chance to take this game. And for Ignition, again, they're only going to be looking at themselves for why they are in this position in the first place. But now the pressure's on. Cannot make any more mistakes here in this game. Ryan, can he take number 6? Missed it in there. Bingo Brian has it! And Ignition will escape Game 2 of their life. It was anything but pretty. It was anything but clean. But Team Ignition will take it in overtime. It was a mistake-prone on defense for Team Ignition. I don't know how on earth they escaped Game 2. Because their offense played well, but their defense had issues. And my goodness, somehow they got away with that. And after a game like that, you would think a team like Team Ignition would probably take a little bit of time here to talk things out, but they're doing quite the opposite here. They want to go right back into this series. As, again, what a performance so far. What a look that they have had. Team Ignition, they'll take that game. I don't know if they really deserved it with the way they're playing, but to be fair, neither team really played to deserve it. Soul Thieves still struggling. While they have scored 5 goals, a lot of them weren't because of their own offense. It was because of the Ignition defense making mistakes. The Soul Thieves, they've got to find an offense. They still don't have that step up that we need to see from them on offense. And without it, if Team Ignition just prevent themselves from making those costly errors, the Soul Thieves aren't going to get much of anything to work for them. But Sovak, Bolts, trying to find something early, and I do appreciate Sovak, who is still getting involved in this play, even if, again, Game 2 was where a lot of his goals came from those errors. Still making sure he gets involved somehow. Ignition, staying on the ball, but Bingo Brian Good reset. Not able to get through bolts. Cody off the corner. Great play up for Ryan, but his first touch very high, and the Soul Thieves will be on top of it. Mission though, just playing for the midfield. As Bingo Brian. Good away by Riza. Ryan clears this one ahead. Soavok. Oh, he's missed it completely. It was slotted top right, but Soavok had control. That's one he should be saving. Man, the consistency is still an issue for these teams. He had full boost as well. And so for Soavok, he's not going to like that replay, but what we see is him getting scored on in a play that should never have seen the nets. Ignition with another early lead in this game. Now they're just looking to add on to it. Cody blocked by Bolts. Is that going to go on? Just wide of the net. Ryan erased the ball and Riza first to it. Soavok. Cody able to force him for that early shot, and good on Cody for doing that. He won't ever get to the ball in that play, but what he does do is he forces Soavok to shoot it rather than go for a dribble play. Wasting out time, wasting out those resources, wasting out space, which is exactly what his play was intending to do there. Little things like that are why Cody such a fun player to watch at this level. As even more fun is that infield pass. Bingo Brian will collect, but it's Ryan with yet another assist this series. And that one is actually more impressive than I thought it was. Cody had jumped at the same play at the same ball that Ryan was. Would have been extremely dangerous had Ignition not scored there. But the Soul Thieves will collect. His bolts. Soul Thieves. Again, still, we need to find that semblance of offense. They've gotten better as these games have gone on, but better still is not good enough here. They've got to play a whole lot better. That's a great bump in front. Bolt's not there to shoot in time. Not willing to take that risk. Team Ignition will take that ball, push it to their own corner. As Bolt's blocked by Ryan. It's a very high first touch. Now he's got the fake on the Soavok. He comes in Riza, but his touch goes nowhere. Team Ignition again controlling that midfield, winning more than they're not. As Bingo Brian off another infield pass. Team Ignition are finding something that works, and they're milking it for a true effect. Ryan and Bingo Brian connect on another infield play, and yet again, Soul Thieves have nothing to say for it. And Ignition at this point have shown no signs of slowing down. Ryan off the corner. It's in front for Bingo Brian. Almost another chance on. It's Cody now. Bolts not getting bumped out there. Not able was Bingo Brian to get there. But Ryan, it's open. Cody, it's 4-0. And we've just passed the halfway mark in this game. And Team Ignition have not stopped scoring. Not too dissimilar to game one. Team Ignition, you keep on the goals, keep on the scoring, and the Soul Thieves, yet again, just feel like they have no answer. Team that needed to bring an offense in, they still have yet to find their voice. Bingo Brian, bumped by Bolts. It will head across for Riza. Missed there by Ryan. Soavok will be in. And the first mistake of the game from Team Ignition's backline. For Ryan, who usually, again, doesn't make mistakes. He's had a couple of this series that have definitely been costly. For the Soul Thieves, they can't rely on just mistakes to get them back in this. They've got to score from their own plays. And with a little bit of almost 2 minutes to go, they have the time to do it. It's all about being able to do it. Actually finding those plays that matter. Something that has not been a Soul Thieves specialty. Cody. Bolts missed it in the midfield. Soavok actually has a lot of open space to work with, but Ryan will clear. And Riza missed it off to the back wall. It's wide open. Cody will slot bottom left. And the Soul Thieves took a chance upfield. It was Riza who pushed up very high, but unable to collect the ball. Cody will say thank you very much. Team Ignition making sure that last mistake that they gave up against the Soul Thieves will not matter. The scoreline is now 5-1. And the Soul Thieves, do they have much they can say about this? We've seen reverse sweeps in best of sevens in the Blackline Championship Series. They don't happen often, and I don't think the Soul Thieves are in a great position to make that a possibility. Because as long as Team Ignition keeps on shutting down the Soul Thieves' offense, I don't see any world where they go out here. Again, for Timu, lost very early last season in the playoffs. A win here will guarantee they'll do better than they did in season 14. It's definitely an improvement, although Ignition, again, they're looking to make it as far as they can. Make it into that, top 8, top 6 preferably. But in order to do that, they're going to need a lot of wins, a lot of great performances. So far this playoff bracket, they've had nothing but good performances. Again, that last match against Chancha's Rocket Club, ending in a 4-0 sweep. Very likely they might be able to do the same thing here against the Soul Thieves. As this game will near its end, the Soul Thieves unable to get a second goal. Ignition will once again send the ball away as Bingo Brian demoed out, but yet another clear here that Team Ignition will work with. Cody bolts waiting on the back wall, but as time winds down, Team Ignition will want one more. That's off the post. Brian takes it up, but it will actually stay up for now, but then hit the ground. Team Ignition now on quadruple match point. One win away from taking the series, from advancing further in the upper bracket. That means we're going to game 4 with Team Ignition and with a chance to take the series. This game, with it being 13 shots to 8, wasn't that bad for the number of shots these teams had, but the offense from the Soul Thieves never had a chance to breathe. Ryan with 5 assists, and he's been elite tonight. He has to be if this team's going to perform well in the playoff bracket. Team Ignition, even with that hiccup in game 2, even with Ryan's mistakes, they've been the better team so far. But we go to Utopia Coliseum Dusk. We've seen teams come back from down this many games in a series. Team Ignition's run is far from over in this match. They've got to get one more win. We'll hope to do it right now. On the off to a great start off the kickoff. Cody just wide, but Team Ignition with the ball. Ryan and Brian unable to find a play past Bolts. And for Team Ignition, they've again scored first in every game so far. They'll continue that trend. Cody, oh, a lot of fortune on that side wall, but he's not complaining. Every goal will add to Team Ignition's confidence, and even with that dunk on Silovak going in the net, Team Ignition know their run, and this game is not over yet. But they're off to a great start. Team Ignition, it's been, for them at least, it's been an exciting night. For Soul Thieves, it's been very quiet by Team Ignition's design. The Soul Thieves, again, we still have yet to see that offense show up. They can bring in an offense. You feel like they surely give themselves a chance to beat Team Ignition here. They've not shown a single sign of it. And Team Ignition are not going to let them have that chance. Ryan now off the back wall. Solovak unable to collect. Cody a bit too slow. He was waiting to see if Bolts was going to jump for it or not. Team Ignition just going to get that ball away. Ryan with a high first touch. Now the dunk on Solovak. As Ryan, Team Ignition with the ball as now and Rise are taking it back for Soul Thieves, but bumped off in the midfield. Team Ignition have been stellar in winning these 50-50 challenges. One of the many, it's probably the main reason the Soul Thieves have had almost no offense this entire night, because that Team Ignition have prevented them from having any chances on offense. Again, even when the Soul Thieves do get upfield, those 50-50s from Ignition, those clears, those touches, Soul Thieves don't have an answer. As yet another 51, this time from Cody. And Ryza, though, clears it back. Soul Thieves trying to stay close, but Ryan. Cody looking to help him out by chipping this one down the field. And Team Ignition trying to stay on the ball as Bingo Brian. An awkward bounce in Ryza. This one pinched midfield. Cody will get back to it in time. A bit slow on that rotation. But Wolfie's right on top of him. As Aiko asking how am I doing? I'm doing great. How are you doing, Aiko Weski? You're joining for a great time here. Team Ignition only one win away from taking down the Soul Thieves and sending them to the lower bracket while continuing their run in the upper bracket to the winners quarterfinals. In fact, for Team Ignition, if they win here, they're guaranteed to have a better performance than they did last season in the playoffs, where they lost in lower round 3. Ryza, Ryan, Soavok, Cody, holds the Soavok, Soul Thieves, Team Ignition staying close to it, Bingo Brian, but no one there to support him. Ignition still holding that 1-goal lead steady. With how much time is still left, they cannot feel comfortable. In fact, I don't know if they're going to be able to hold this lead forever. It's a tall order for any team at this level to do that. And they got to get that second goal. I really feel like they got to get that second goal to really calm themselves down, really give themselves a heavy chance to take this match. Soul Thieves once again on offense. Good chance in front, missed by Bolt Soavok, who's been scary all night. That shot heads wide. And they don't have another chance on the end of this one. Team Ignition trying to get that ball out. Bingo Brian up early. Cody unable to help him. And Team Ignition trying to stay right on top of this play as Soavok. 1-on-1. That hook shot going behind Ryan and above the goal. And for the Soul Thieves, again, while the loss in this series will not mean the end of their playoff run, it does mean they go to lower bracket quite early. They cannot find themselves in that position as Bolts. Ryan clearing it away. Team Ignition gonna stay right on top of the play as Cody. Big clear. Ryan. Midfield. Team Ignition still looking for that second goal of this game to almost certainly give them the win in the series. But that defense is going to be what they rely on here. Soavok, that's a good shot! And he's got it by Cody! And the Soul Thieves have finally found it! Oh, as Cody turned the wrong direction, turning to the left and not the right. Still thought he didn't think he was in the right position in that net. Wanted to take a wider turn to put himself in the right place, but the shot coming in that quickly. Cody making a disastrous blunder. But admittedly for the Ignition, very tough to hold that 1-goal lead for as long as they did. We've got to find one more. Ryan! Soavok will get back in time. Team Ignition looking for another infield pass. Cody on the end of this one. Ryan now, all by himself. We know what he can do, but Bolts won't give him the opportunity. Cody, maybe one more chance at the end of regulation. And Ryza, redirected high. Missed there! Oh, but the shot is away from the net. And for the second time this series, we go to OT. A very different scoreline than what we saw in Game 2, where it ended 5-5. Still, though, the same result will happen. Ignition will win, and they'll take the series here. 7 seconds in, the Soul Thieves are knocked to the lower bracket. Team Ignition's upper bracket reign continue. With a 4-0 sweep, Team Ignition in great control, and it's Ryan who led this team every single game, and for good reason. He is deserving of that MVP award. A 4-0 sweep for a team like Ignition, who have had issues in the past with consistency. We're finding time to practice. It's a game that's got to give them a lot of confidence for their playoff run. That just means that their run in the upper bracket continues. The Contenders series as they can sweep win there over the Soul Thieves. Their next match is against the winner of the Wash Crossbars and Hunix El Canton. Could be very nice to see Hunix El Canton play against them. That's another very good team. A team that I really like to watch, so get a little bit of them. But for us tonight, that's our only match here, Team Ignition. We'll make it quick. And to talk with us about it, as always, is the wonderful Cody. Welcome in, Cody. It's another Ryan show tonight for Team Ignition. But I don't think you guys are complaining. Another 4-0 sweep. Your playoff run this season a lot better than last season, and I'm sure that's going to be a huge sigh of relief that this season is a lot better for you guys.
Yeah, man, I think last season we just we didn't take it as seriously as we had wanted to, I don't think, especially going into the playoffs, and really got punished for it. And we kind of felt the same thing like a couple games this season. Like we lost. We actually got second in our group, and the team that won it was the team that we beat in week one. So a little down on ourselves for not topping the group. So we've been putting in the work, really like talking with each other, like strategy on the side, like just talking about Rocket League, talking about what we can do, and like building the morale. So this week felt good. Same as last week, we felt really strong, and Ryan's midfield passing like could just do no wrong tonight. So we just kept doing it, just kept feeding the hot hand.
As you did, and again, it's but for a team like Ignition, as you guys have, you're not, you don't ever, you've never been too quiet about the fact that this team isn't one that finds a lot of practice easily. And, that does create some inconsistency issues with Team Ignition. I'm sure you're very well aware of that Team Ignition, without that, without as much practice as they used to, is going to have, a very unique position in this bracket. Talking about the unique position Ignition's in, not having nearly as much time to practice together. I mean, you gotta kind of tell me what's it been like being in that unique position, because it's one that, for most teams, they find that time. For you guys, it's not as easy. So being in that kind of unique position, does it provide any unique issues for you guys?
I think the biggest issue that like we noticed was kind of in like week 3 or 4, how like Brian and we would play the two position a little bit differently, and we kind of talked it out, and really kind of like opened up our awareness of it. But I think the big thing, right, is even though we don't like practice as a team much and do a lot of scrims, we all play two. Like I play twos with Brian, I play twos with Ryan. And or like as far as like Rocket League players go, like we're all like a little bit on the older side, like we're all over 22. Like I'm 29, Ryan's like 24. I think Brian's also like 24, 25. So we're all, really mature and kind of have like a team first mentality. So it's easy to kind of tell in comms like who's feeling it that night. And none of us, obviously more often than not, it's Ryan. But nights where he's not feeling it, Brian and I try and step up, and it's worked some weeks. And this week Ryan was going crazy, so we just kept giving it to him. So I think it's more so we trust each other that really gets us through more often than not.
You guys are able to get those wins, even despite the weird circumstances. Though this upper bracket run is not going to continue. You're not going to sweep every team. That's not happening. And for you guys, the start of your playoff bracket has been nothing but perfect. For the weeks that aren't going to be as good, which you have to be able to prepare for Ignition, the season has had weeks where they haven't looked great. What are you guys going to do to make sure you stay on top? Because, for last season, one of your major issues when going to the lower bracket was just that you weren't consistent at playing, at getting wins even when you didn't play well. It's why you lost in lower round 3. Now this season, now that you've made it a little bit further, that you have, more competition ahead of you, an upper bracket that you guys are still looking pretty good in. What are you guys going to do when those rough weeks do come in, or are you even preparing for those tougher weeks?
I think this goes back to, so like the very first season we entered BLC, not when we were the academy team and we won, but 2 seasons after that when we entered with me, Brian, and Ryan. I don't want to say like we coasted through, but we had like what felt like a really kind of like free ride to like the top 6. Like we played really well. The close games went our way. And then we kind of like rode that high the next couple seasons of like not expecting too much competition. And then last year we really got like punched in the mouth, so to say, with, hey, if we're not on top of our game, there's some stiff competition here. And so I think that we kind of changed our mentality this year to hoping to win like every week, but like expecting a tough game. And I think that showed both this week and last week that we didn't come in underestimating our opponents. Our opponents both weeks have been very, very solid, earn their spot in the playoffs. And I think we're going to just continue that each week, just, not expecting easy wins coming out, like looking to fight, ready to make like mid game changes. And if we lose and we go down to the lower bracket, we'll do the same thing. Just keep grinding and keep pushing. Want to get back up into that, top 6, top 4, and maybe even back to the championship.
Man, another unique position you guys are in now, coming into the playoff brackets. It was quite sudden as well. The closing of Team Ignition. Obviously, you're playing out the rest of the season under the organization's name, but for you, Cody, you've been a part of this org for a very, very long time, as long as I've known about this org.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously now the loss of Team Ignition, should we expect a new org, a different team name, a slightly different future for this Team Ignition side in the future?
I think I don't want to pre-jump,
Well,
so
don't
to
say anything
say.
too quickly. Don't curse
Yeah,
anything.
yeah, we're in talks with a couple different. I think we, out of respect for Ziggy, what he built, we want to keep the Ignition name. Obviously for the rest of this season, kind of as one last hurrah. But yes, we're not the three of us are not going anywhere. Those 3 players are going to continue to play, whether it's a different name, a different org, same players, same kind of thing that we usually do. So it is sad to see. Ignition was a great org. Love Ziggy. Wish him nothing but the best in the future. But going to try and continue to roll for the bonfire.
And I'd love to say one more season on that Team Ignition name. Well, so far this season has looks pretty good in the playoff bracket. 2 straight sweeps. I think you might be the only team so far that has actually done that. 2 straight sweeps. There's only been one other sweep so far this back. That's from HBE Medusa, who play against the Sloth Hounds. So we'll see how their fun goes. But for you, at least, it's a 4-0 sweep for Team Ignition. A great win here as you send the Soul Thieves to the lower bracket. Is there any last things you want to talk about here, Cody? Any shoutouts? Any final things you want to say? Any final messages?
Just lastly, shout out to my teammates every week. We keep really, really positive comms and enjoy each other's presence. So shout out to those guys. I don't know if Ziggy's watching, but shout out to him for everything he did with Ignition. I just recently moved in with my girlfriend, and she's been super, super supportive. Of all my habits and competitions. So shout out to her. Yeah, lastly, shout out to you, Sporty, for being the best community caster out there.
Thank you very much. It took a little time away from Team Ignition. Didn't really get to see you guys for all that long, but you guys are doing just fine without me. That sporty buff isn't necessary anymore for you guys. Or maybe it is. Whatever it is, congratulations on your win here, Cody, and to Team Ignition. A 4-0 sweep over the Soul Thieves. Thank you so much for joining us, and again, good luck for the future of this team, whatever org or whatever the organization or team you guys form next.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. And we'll be asking you to cast plenty of our matches. Don't worry.
Grace, have a great night.
You too. Thanks, Forty.
That was Cody there of Team Ignition, just coming in to say hi and a little talk afterwards after that incredible 4-0 sweep. We're going to make sure that we turn things around here. We get a little raid out for all of these players, but thank you all so much for being so supportive. Thank you all so much for being there and watching this sporty stream. We'll be live again tomorrow from the Royalty Series, but for us tonight, thank you so much. Take care. Be well. We'll see you again very, very soon.